Hi, everybody. This is Patti Negri. Welcome to the Witching Hour, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. And I have some really, really good magic for you today. Actually, one of my favorite people that I've admired forever and honored to have her, who I honestly think is like one of the first ladies, most loved, most respected people in the paranormal business. She hardly needs introduction, but you will recognize her herself. Welcome, Katrina Weidman. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so excited to be here. It's nice to talk to you again because we worked together a couple months ago, and I
Yes,
felt like
and
we didn't really get a chance to talk when you came out because it was,
it,
in and out kind of
it was
situation.
as those things always are. They were, and I really, as always, I had no idea where I was or where I was going, and it was chilly. I was cold. I'm
Yeah.
an LA girl. I have very thin blood, and it's like, and then I look at myself on camera, going, I think I had 12 too many coats on. I don't know. I look like a walking Barbie doll. But yeah, I was so thrilled to do that, and um, yeah, extra excited. I mean, I do lots of stuff, but it's like I'm working with Katrina. This is
Aw.
awesome because honestly, I don't think it's just my opinion, and I really don't say this to everybody who comes on the show. I think you really must be one of the most respected and loved, not even just women, people in the paranormal, because you've been so true to it for these years, and you started so young, and
Yeah.
you're still so vibrant within it. How
Thank
did
you.
you, yeah. So from all my like witchy folks and everything, how did you even end up in this crazy paranormal world?
Yeah, it's funny. I think we all kind of have this a similar story where we feel like it kind of chose us, versus us choosing it. But I grew up in haunted houses, and so there were two that we lived in, and so it really started this thirst for wanting to know what this was. And my parents, my mom's a believer, my dad's a non-believer, so I feel like we got a good mixture of both sides of it.
Yeah.
And I always read about it, always did my own little research, whatever that meant when I was 12. And then when I got to school at college, they had a paranormal club. And at the time, Ghost Hunters was out, it was doing really well. So it wasn't uncommon to see a paranormal club pop up. And so I went to their meeting, and I kind of a long story, but I had to drop out and then I went back later. Um, and when I went back, they were doing training. And so they had a course that you could take to be an investigator. And it was really just about learning different cultures, learning different religions, and how to be objective and how to properly interview someone, how to work with children, how to assess for, psychological issues you might find or environmental issues that could affect somebody to think, they're having a haunting. It was all of that stuff. And at the same time, they were getting their own television show on A&E called Paranormal State. And so I ended up doing the show, graduated from the training class, and it just completely snowballed from there. I never, when I was a kid, this wasn't a job, so it wasn't like I was, 8 being like, I'm going to be a paranormal investigator.
No.
Like that was not a thing. But I always thought I would do it in some way, but I didn't know what that meant. Maybe go out to haunted places and write a book. There was a woman in my hometown that wrote a couple books. She went like around the world doing it in the 70s. And so I thought, if anything, if I had any kind of idea of working in that way, I think I would have understood it to be in that way, but I never thought it would be the way I've been doing it.
Wow. Yeah, it does kind of choose you. But that just makes me so happy to know that they really did train you in belief
Yeah.
systems, religions, how to talk to both the dead and the living, because so many people don't. That kills me because that's what I study too. Religion. I even have a spirituality school. It's like these people go in, it's like they dive in the deep end and they don't know how to swim. They have never even been near water before. And then they do this stuff. So that no wonder I love you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful that that was my introduction into the field professionally, because I think it gave me a really deep level of respect for not just the work, but also the people you come in contact
Yeah.
with. And I think one of the benefits that's really come out of the shows is that it has exposed people to the field, and it has kind of taken off some of the taboo
Yeah.
about people who experience this stuff or live that lifestyle or whatever. But I think the negative side that we've seen, which, which is why I think something like podcasts are so important, or the events that we do are so important, is because, one of the negative sides has been what you just said, is that people do it without really having an understanding of how to do it properly. And I think that can have negative consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, again, that's why you've, again, always stood out, is in so much integrity and virtue in how you do things. Yes, it's TV, and yes, we do these fun things, but that is awesome. And speaking of podcasts, you have a podcast now yourself, right? As well as Portals to Hell,
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about as well. But so you have something called Travel the Dead?
Yeah. So Travel the Dead, it's a YouTube project. I kind of call it an investigative journey more than a show, because it's kind of funny how it started. It started really out of the pandemic. Heather Taddy, she's one of my best friends. We met doing this in college. She was part of Paranormal State with me. Mm-hmm. And since we've done Paranormal State, we always get these requests to come out to haunted locations, check them out, blah, blah, blah. And kind of with our schedules, we don't always get to do as much as we want to, especially when she and I have conflicting schedules on TV.
Right.
But with the pandemic, obviously we had nothing to do. and these places were still asking us to come out. And they were like, look, we don't have anybody for like a year. If you want to come out, the place is all yours. And so it became this thing of, let's just go out and do it. It's just us. So we don't have to worry about COVID. And it was also a thing of, I really wanted to show a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what it is to do this. Cause like in television shows, you just get glimpses of what we do. And, they're really, my God bless the editors, because they are so talented. The producers who work on those shows are so talented to take, 4 or 5 days of investigating and make it into a cohesive story and show that people can enjoy at home. But I do sometimes feel like you don't always get the other part of it, and so I really wanted to show that and what it's like to be an investigator, and because it can be really taxing and confusing. And, so Travel the Dead is very much like the journey that Heather and I go on, the journey I've been going on. And then we do a live section for it every now and again, where we kind of talk more in depth about our investigations. And we do that all on YouTube.
That's fabulous. So you guys check it out. Travel the Dead with Katrina. Yes. And going back to Portals to Hell, I was so thrilled when they called me to be on it. Like I said, you've always like, oh, I get to work with Katrina. I'm like, oh, Jack too. Yeah, he's cool. And I must say it was so cute though, because I've done a lot of these shows and mostly ghost adventures, and I'm used to poker faces, but you, girl, because and the producers forewarn you, going, okay, now, even if you tell us what color underpants basically the ghost is wearing, and then you give their whole life story from birth to death, they won't let you know. They won't let you know. And I'm used to that, but no, you were great, because yeah, because you didn't know where it was when we were at that bar in Memphis. And I was almost and I try to stay in my right brain place, not get all logical, because then it screws everything up. As we know, I'm what are you going to think is going to do and everything. But I almost went there when all of a sudden literally, I'd never experienced any of this in my entire life, doing this invisible bird flew in front of my face, and you guys, what's going on? And I almost didn't want to say, just a bird. I had no idea, but you didn't give away that there was this whole bird theme. I was like, that is so weird. Should I say there's a giraffe in the building? So yeah, that's what I love it. You're not guiding people through to anything or anything like that. It all comes out at the end.
Yeah. And that's really important to both me and Jack. One of the psychics we work with, actually 2 of them, Sarah Lemos and Cindy Keza, they both are always, she's so sweet. And they're always like, can you guys just stop with the poker face? Like I get it. You're not gonna say anything, but they're like, you make me feel so uncomfortable. And we're like, sorry, we don't want to give anything away. We just want to hear what you get. And, then we'll tell you at the end and all that stuff. So.
Well, if you ever get tired of this paranormal thing, learn poker. Really, it's really. I'm at the card table. She's like, we don't know what hand she has. We don't know. That is Funny. So when you go into places, again, I know you're trained in all the ethical things and how to talk to people. My show is a very witchy show and goes into the spiritual and paranormal and protection and things. And that's some of the stuff I teach. How do you go in? What is your belief system, or how do you protect yourself, or you're going into a place?
Yeah, I think my belief system, I've kind of had to put it in separate boxes, so there's the belief system I grew up with,
Yeah.
which I still very much, I think it's really hard to abandon that. Because it's just how you were raised and it's how you, kind of moved through the world for a long time. So I'm really well aware that I have that in me, and I have my parents' belief systems that, they had and taught us, which is mostly like, a Christian background. But then I have my belief systems I've adopted as an adult, which is very eclectic. I kind of like pull from a couple different things, just whatever really speaks to me spiritually. And I consider myself more spiritual than religious. But when it comes to work, I leave all of those at the door, because I don't want any of those experiences to go through that filter. And I know they will on some level, but I think what's really helpful is just being aware of what my belief systems are. So that way, if I experience something, I'm not labeling it automatically because that's what I was taught to think that is.
Right.
You kind of have to strip that all away. So I think that's been really helpful, but those are kind of like the three sections I work in. And then there's, my belief system, I think, is ever evolving because work has taught me that we don't know everything. I've experienced so much weird stuff over the years that I cannot explain. And that I think, 90% of the religions out there would tell you shouldn't exist and doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And, but I've seen it. So, what do you make of that?
Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. And I take from everybody a little from aisle B, a little from aisle C. And because I kind of my gift, and you're super gifted too, is I see energy, I see things. And it almost doesn't matter what name you put on it. That's like a template. I'm using my Christian or my Judeo-Christian, or I'm using my old school pagan, or getting real new agey, or getting all ET, whatever that is. It's that same energy. You just put different names almost. It's like a template. So I think it's fine to go from, I'm going back into, Hail Mary, if that's what you need to do.
Right.
And it all is, it's just how we navigate. It's just how we navigate, find our own truth.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been teaching our thing. And I do think, and what do you think? I think, again, I'm not going to get into Age of Aquarius that we're moving into, but I think more and more unexplainable to the old fashioned world is happening. I think the veil really is thinning between the worlds. And
yeah, I go back and forth with that because I'm like, is it just something where people are more accepting of it, so we're hearing about it more, or is there something really happening? And I don't have, from my perspective, I don't have the answer, but I agree with you, pulling from different, things, whatever feels right to you, and they're all just labels. That's really all they are. And if you look at religions and cultures, they all kind of have their own version of the same things, so but I am very much a believer in, I really do think there's some, just because I've seen it in my own life, like when I do a burning ceremony or something, because I do that to either release things that I need to release or things that I hope to manifest in my life. I have seen like crazy results from doing that stuff. So I do very much believe there's some sort of power we all have within us that kind of taps into something.
Yep, I do too. And again, you could put it into any terms you want. But I'm a big burner too. I'm writing it down. I'm burning it up. Get rid of it. Go away. Or set it a thing. I'm also a big planter. Whether I'm planting things or bird seed, the bird's going to take it off and eat it, and we're going to bring it into the universe. There's lots of ways to get real elemental with that. But I do, and even that I think you could take into that we're doing something action. If you look at the basic psychology of it, it's mind, body, spirit. There's 20,000. You have to believe this to make anything happen. Will never surpass our thought pattern. Body, you have to take action. You're burning. And the spirit is that magic or faith behind it, whether it's going to church and pray or doing a burning or a candle working or a vision board or affirmation. I think in my witchcrafty world, we call it creation working dispatch. In psychology, it's mind, body, spirit, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
So if you want to get down and dirty, you want to write stuff down, you want to get rid of, that's scientific just as much as anything else. We are tapping into its energy, whatever name you want to put on it. So yeah, go burn people, go burn things.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I've been using affirmations for like on and off for probably the last 10 years, but really more steadily over the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you look, there is science behind that. It does change the neural pathways, and it's really interesting. So, or you can even look at meditation and how they used to, I guess our Western world used to, I don't want to say demonize it, but just sort of like brush it off as it was nothing. But there's legitimately real science behind it that shows how it works and how it changes us. So, I'm with you. I just think it's all labels but there's a basis for a lot of it, I think.
Yeah, I know. And science that's getting into all the quantum sciences, and science is proving all this stuff that some old shaman or some old medicine guy or some old witch is known that for years.
Yeah.
We call it this.
Yeah.
So in addition to this beautiful paranormal world, which I do think, yes, I do think it is getting stronger. Because I kind of see the veil, and I do think it is thinning. We are going into a different age. And yes, it is because it's more accepted, and we have 24-hour internet. We have 24-hour everything. Yeah. So it's not just you write a letter and tell your friend about your experience. 100,000 people know in 2 seconds flat. So I think they both have something to do with it. But in addition to this, our beautiful paranormal, magical, spiritual world, to me, I think people who go into that are very creative, right brain people. So you are also a singer-songwriter, correct?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So and it kind of goes back into, being a kid and what you wanted to be when you grew up. I did not think the paranormal was going to be a thing. So when I was growing up, it was very much singer, songwriter, actor, because my mom is she's an actor, and never really professionally. She did some professional things here and there. And then my dad got into it. And so we very much grew up with, like, I grew up watching my parents tap dance together on stage, and my dad in drag, and my mom singing, and like all that stuff, very musical household. So I went to school. My first degree is in music, and my second degree is in theater. So it was very much, that's what I was going to do. I was going to be in the arts. And then this whole other side kind of took over, but very happily working back on my music again. So good. And I think they really do go hand in hand. I think people who are trained in the arts are going to do better going into this paranormal world for a million reasons, both the TV version of it and just, we know how to, I call it dance between the logical and the intuitive, as artists have to, and so do paranormal people. So so you are working on your music again? Is there anything we are going to be able to hear? Or? Soon. Yeah, soon. 3 singles are coming. So I've been working with producer Barb Morrison, and the recording engineer is Jeremy Kenny, and John Jeter for final mixing. And so we like very talented people on these songs, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully in the next couple months, I think, so 2 of them are at final mix right now. The other one, I go back into the studio in a couple weeks to finish, and then that'll go off to final mix, and then they go to mastering. Yeah. All right. And you wrote these songs yourself? Did you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've always written since I was 10 or 11. I was writing songs, but I was in a band for a number of years, and when that band broke up, I don't know, it was like I had a creative block. Like I was writing, but nothing really felt right. Nothing felt like, I wasn't excited about anything I was writing, after our disbandment. And then I met Barb, and I started working with Barb and doing like a bit of a mentorship with them. And Barb said something to me that totally just, I don't know, like unleashed the beast, I think. But they said to me as I was writing and I was kind of like expressing my frustrations, they were like, just let it be what it's going to be. Like, why are you trying to control it so much? And I was like, I don't know the answer to that. And them just saying that to me, I was like, I don't know, over 40 songs just blah, like came right. Wow. Yeah. So it was like at least a song a day for like 8 weeks. And So
Wow, that
yeah,
is awesome. See,
yeah.
so in looking again, you're creatives, and in looking at that, and you even said you grew up in like two haunted houses. I
Yeah.
think a lot of houses are haunted. People don't see it. So you yourself are very intuitive, very psychic yourself. But I don't know if
Mm.
obviously you know that. I don't know if you use those words.
Yeah, you know what's so funny? I'll tell you the story. So on Paranormal State, if people go back and watch the opening credits, we're each labeled something.
Hmm.
So like Sergi's the tech expert and Elfie is the occultist. And they didn't really know what to label me, I guess. And I had disclosed that I've had dreams that come true and that I've had feelings about people, like things that I shouldn't know about them that I'll know,
Hmm.
you know? And so they originally labeled me the psychic. And I
See?
like fought against that though, because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. These things just happen when they happen. I don't label myself that way. So I had to, like, I guess it caused a big thing because I had to go back in and pay for new graphics. But um, yeah, but I do ever since I was a kid, just had those things happen, especially the dreams. The dreams are big with me.
Yeah, yeah. And that again, that shows us getting out of our way. I teach this little thing I call dream school. It's putting a glass of water by the side of your bed because water, it's like it's a battery. It enhances things. If you want to ask something specific, they do all that science with water now. If you're mean to water, it changes
Oh
the
yeah.
molecules. If you're loving with water, it's directable. So if you put a glass of water by your bed, don't drink it because it collects everything unless it's sealed. And just say, I want to talk to whoever, whatever, or what is the meaning of life, or what outfit should I wear? It's crazy work. So
Yeah.
dream time is good, but yeah, you're definitely gifted. It's just obvious in everything.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, and it's funny too what you said about, kind of getting out of your way because I find I have the most psychic dreams or even just being really into like I get flashes of things and they'll happen the most when I am totally aware of what I want in life, where I'm not stressed out, where I'm
Yeah.
not pulled in a million directions by people or things I don't want to be pulled by. It's like when I'm very, very sure and grounded in my life, those are when all of that stuff happens.
Yeah.
I mean, floodgates open when that stuff is in line.
Yeah, yeah. And that's and if you're not there in the moment, you just breathe into it. That's
Mm,
stuff you can learn and practice along the way, but that is beautiful.
yeah.
So anyway, I could have 1,000 million other questions, but I'm just going to have you come back if you
Yeah,
will.
I know. I would love to.
So tell everybody where they can find you. I'm sure everybody knows where you are. Portals of Hell is still going now, so tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am on all the social media. So Katrina Weidman, and my last name is spelled Weidman. So you can find me on there. And if you want to catch the last season of Portals to Hell, season 3, which Patti was on,
Yeah.
you can go to you can go to Discovery Plus. And Patti's episode was our Memphis, Tennessee episode, which was
Yeah.
Ernestine and Hazel's. It was a very
Yeah.
cool episode, one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was wild. Again, I had no idea, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a bar," and I felt the
Yeah.
music so much. Also being married to a musician, part of my life, and so that was perfect. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Katrina Weidman. Thank you for visiting the Witching Hour.
Thank you for having me.